Welcome to CRG, or Capital Review Group's Frequently Asked Questions section. One of the first questions we're usually asked is, how does this credit apply to me? We don't do R&D. There's no way we qualify for the credit. In reality, the R&D credit's available to businesses of all sizes and from a variety of industries. At CRG, we specialize in helping architecture and engineering firms, manufacturers, and technology companies reap the benefits of this incentive. Another question frequently asked is, what is the process of claiming the credit? How much time is it going to take? When we help clients qualify for the R&D credit, our goal is to make the process as simple as possible and minimize the hassles to the client. The first step is to gather the pertinent financial information, including the number of hours spent on projects, payroll, and other costs. This information will help us to estimate the potential credit amount. We also conduct some interviews to determine the qualifying nature of the project and gather the documentation. Based on this information, we calculate the amount of the credit, and we also create the work papers to support the claim. Generally, if we can obtain this information in a timely manner, we can complete these projects within a 3 to 4 week period. Another question we're frequently asked is, what type of activities qualify for the research credit? Of course, not all activities qualify for the credit, but the IRS has a 4-part test that helps you determine whether an activity qualifies for the research credit. The first part of the test is known as the permitted purpose test. In other words, the activity must be intended to create or improve a product or a process or software. Second, the activity must be technical in nature. In other words, it must rely on engineering, biology, physics, or computer science. Third, there must be some uncertainty in the outcome. And what that means is that there's some uncertainty regarding the capability, the method, design, process, or cost. Finally, the activity must involve a process of experimentation designed to eliminate uncertainties. Examples of qualifying processes include trial and error, testing or evaluating alternatives. We are often asked for examples of qualified research activities. Examples of business activities that could potentially meet the 4-part test include architecture firms developing concepts, particularly if they incorporate new design or construction techniques or deal with specific requirements such as site conditions or municipal codes or energy efficiency. Manufacturers improving facilities or streamlining processes may also qualify. Technology companies developing or improving software or other applications would likely qualify. Other examples include creating prototypes or models, performing engineering calculation, evaluating and testing designs, construction planning. All of these may very well qualify for the credit. How is the credit calculated? The R&D credit is based upon what is referred to as qualified research expenses, or QREs, which include wages paid to employees, as well as certain independent contractors, and amounts paid for supplies used in the conduct of the qualified research. The R&D credit is equal to approximately 9.1% of the excess qualified expenses over a base amount. This base amount equals 50% of the taxpayer's average qualified research expenditures over the past 3 years. At CRG, we use the accounting method to capture the QREs. The IRS prefers this method over the hybrid method, which is used by other service providers and at times has been attacked and questioned by state auditors. On top of the tax savings you receive from the federal credit, many states offer credits for these R&D activities. So in some instances, the credit may double. What if I can't use all the credit in 1 year? In some cases, businesses are unable to use all of the R&D credits in the year that they receive it. For example, a newer business may not have the tax liability due to a lack of income during the years that it was performing most of the R&D activities. Fortunately, the provisions allow to carry the credit back 1 year and carry the credit forward 2 years. In addition, a law change at the end of 2015 now allows certain small businesses, which were essentially startups during a certain period of time, to actually use this credit against other payroll taxes. So, if you're a business that started in the last 5 years, there's a good chance you may be able to use these credits immediately. Another question frequently asked is, how does the AMT impact the tax credit? The Alternative Minimum Tax, or AMT, was designed to ensure that certain high-income taxpayers paid their fair share of tax. Historically, the R&D credit could not be used against AMT at the federal level. However, the PATH Act, which was signed at the end of 2015, altered the rule by allowing certain small businesses with $50 million or less of gross receipts to use the R&D credit to offset the AMT liabilities. This is effective in tax year 2016. Therefore, these businesses will not have to worry about the interplay of the AMT and R&D credit for tax years 2016 and beyond. In addition, certain small business corporations are not subject to AMT. Finally, as we discussed earlier, certain small startup businesses which have very little income may actually be able to use the R&D credit in the current year against certain payroll tax liabilities. If you believe this is the case, please contact us immediately so that we can discuss the requirements to be able to claim the credit in this fashion. Another question asked, is there a rule of thumb to determine the amount of credits that might be available to my company? Well, this question is somewhat difficult to answer. However, in most instances, recently we've noticed that companies are getting between $11,000 to $13,000 per $1 million of revenue the company has. In addition, there are state tax credits which could double this amount. Again, these are merely just benchmarks. The credit could be much higher or lower depending on the industry, type of activity, the qualifying expenses, and other factors. How long does this process take? The process typically takes 4 to 6 weeks, or about 5 weeks on average, depending on the responsiveness of the clients to provide the information. Generally, it takes about 2 weeks for gathering the financial information, 2 weeks to conduct the interviews and analyze all the information gathered, and 1 week to compile the data and put together the report. Assuming that all this information can be obtained in a timely fashion, 4 to 6 weeks is about the standard time period to complete a project. What is the involvement of your CPA firm? We work alongside your CPA firm in a collaborative fashion to ensure that the credit is properly taken. The CPA is necessary to provide us with your tax situation so we can determine your credit needs and the best tax approach. The CPA will also be responsible for claiming the credit on the tax return. However, we will help in that by preparing the necessary forms and assisting the CPA in any way in claiming the credit on the return. How are CRG's fees calculated? CRG's fees are based upon the amount of time and effort needed to complete the research study. Generally, there's a direct relationship between the size of the credit and the amount of time and effort and the number of projects necessary to complete a research tax credit study. Therefore, prior to beginning, we ask for some general information up front in order to provide you with a good faith estimate of what the credit will be as well as what our fees will be. Is there anything else you should know about this tax credit? Again, CRG strives to make the process of claiming the R&D credit as simple as possible for our clients. All that we need from you is your financial data and your time for 1 or 2 30-minute interviews at the beginning. If, after our initial review, you do not consider the estimated credit to be a benefit for the effort, you will not incur any fees to CRG for our analysis. If you decide to proceed with claiming the credit, we will include audit protection as part of our fees. Thank you for listening to this presentation. I'm Gary Amico. If you believe your activities may qualify for the R&D credit, or if you have any further questions in any way, please call us. You can reach Capital Review Group at 877-666-5539. We look forward to hearing from you.